Hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod.
And we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, joined as always by my trusted partner, Matt Pickett, and soon to be our special guest this week, Brian Maafi, who is running a couple minutes behind. So we're going to get started without Brian because I know some of you are waiting for us in the chat. It's nice to see you. A jazz intro. Yes, Pappy. This music was composed by Maddie.
This guy.
Matt did the music for our podcast, so glad you like it.
Live trombone and garage band. So I did it with my Mac and my trombone and the microphone I'm using here. It was fun to record that.
Yeah, it was so fun. It was so fun. Thank you, Pappy. And Pappy mentioned hugs to Katie. Katie had something to say last week on our podcast during the week on Wednesday. It feels like 100 years ago. It was only yesterday? Wait, was it yesterday? Today's Thursday?
Today's Thursday.
Yeah. What happened? Anywho, so Katie, or maybe it was the previous Wednesday, but in any case, Katie touched a lot of our viewers with her statement last week. It was very nice, very nice.
Wait, so what did she say? I feel like I'm missing out on something huge here.
Hey, Brandy, you jazzed up the stream. Well, it's Katie's to tell.
Sure, fair enough.
Yeah,
and I don't want to divert viewers and listeners from you and Katie's show. So I'll say instead,
it's not
if you're curious like me, folks, make sure to check out Dawn and Katie's show, which is, what's it called again? I should know this.
In Tarot Talk on Wednesdays at noon Pacific.
There you go.
And 2 Central and 3 Eastern, usually. Usually we try. It's not only that, but I wouldn't do it justice. So but a lot of commenters, a lot of chatters really are still commenting about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And speaking of comments, really appreciate the people joining us here today in the comments. And Dawn, how are you doing? How's your week going?
My week is going great. It started out with a Sunday.
As all weeks do.
I'm sorry, you guys. I'm so tired today. It started out with seeing Jamie Cheesebutt on Sunday, and I threw her a kitty shower because she's adopting Pepe LaFleur, and we're going to go pick up Pepe LaFleur in a couple of weeks together. And then I'm going to help her get Pepe set up at her place, and then I'm going to probably take the train home. So we had a great time. I decorated a cheesecake. And I tried to make it in the likeness of Pepe. It was pretty awful.
Check out the pictures on Twitter. You posted pictures, right? Like on Twitter, wasn't it?
I put the pictures on Twitter, and you know what? I don't think I put them here on YouTube. I will post pictures from the kitty shower that I did in the community pages for anyone who wants to see those. So, okay, so the cheesecake was hilarious. It was. It was the whole thing. I'm usually really artistic and good at this stuff. It was just so bad. Okay, what am I missing? Yes, my LaFleur. Jamie is going to adopt Pepe LaFleur. Coach Kitty. Yes, because Pepe LaFleur, for those of you who aren't in on the saga, I adopted Pepe as a brother for Tosh, but although it went really well, Tosh developed some health problems. And so it was decided with the vets and everything that Pepe had to go back to foster. I was hoping by now we'd figure out what was going on with Tosh so that Pepe could come back. But we haven't. And so Pepe needs to find a new home. And Jamie was looking to get a kitty. And I sent her a picture of Pepe when I told her he needed to be adopted. And she said, I'm ready. So there we go. So we've been kind of planning it, and I got her all set up, sent her home with a trunk full of kitty stuff.
Love that.
Everything you can think of, a little bit of training, a little tips from Granny. Those who don't know it, Jamie is my adopted grandkid, and she lives about an hour away. So, okay. So Bill is coming in with the question for Brian when he gets here. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, what else do we have? Thank you as always, Pappy for I'm calling Pappy now.
I was just saying, Pappy celebrating my hair. I love that. Thanks, Pappy. Feast
Pappy
your eyes.
loves your hair.
Yeah, I'm getting a haircut on Saturday though, so take it in while you can.
Yeah, you do. It is great hair. It is great hair.
Oh, thank you, Donna.
Pappy. Okay, so I'm going to read this out loud in case anyone's listening and not watching. And sorry, I've got a bit of a sore throat, so I'm swallowing extra tonight. It says, "Hey, Katie, my girl, you are such a good woman, Katie. You know why? But you just know you are such an amazing woman, and you make this podcast at least 51% better." And then Pappy also says, "Hugs to you, Katie. You touched me last podcast, and I appreciate your soul." And so if you haven't heard the podcast that Katie and I do, as Matt just mentioned, in Tarot Talk, it's a different playlist on this channel. Check it out. You might enjoy it, especially if you like watching trials, true crime, or have any interest in some of the bigger trials that are going on. Alex Murdaugh, which of course just finished, and the Daybell trial that's coming up, and the Dan Markel case, and all kinds of other trials. But the Dan Markel is probably the one that's closest to my heart. And then of course I talk about NFL law here on this show a little bit too. So have you never joined with Matt? Yes, Pappy's been here. Pappy's been here for our NFL show. Brandy Lewis, welcome.
Maybe Pappy just never caught the beginning of the show. Maybe that's what it was.
Oh, he never heard the intro.
Possible.
Maybe. Mm-hmm.
Well, Don, since we're still waiting for Brian, should we just do the superlatives now and then interview
that's a
him
good
once he gets
idea.
here? Should we just kind of flip it upside down?
We'll go upside down. Well, I have one superlative. Let's see where it is. Let me.
Yeah, what do you got?
I don't remember. Okay, you've got two, and I have one. So you do one, and then I'll do one, and then you do one.
Okay. Wait, sorry, I zoned out.
Well, you go first.
I should do one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking about what Katie just put in the chat there about I don't think there's any news about football. Yeah, no, I wish there would be news about football actually. So yeah, I have two superlatives for the week, and my first one is most illuminating. So this is a really great series that Dusty, the oft mentioned Dusty Evely, is doing on his Substack, and it's called When Open Isn't Open. So we did part 2 this week, came out about the play action boot corner post concept. And so this series has been two installments in. It's incredible, of course, because Dusty. And he's looking at like when you're looking at like why didn't the quarterback throw to that guy? The receiver is open. Like, what's the deal? Why are they such an idiot? This is looking at, hey Brian, at what's actually happening and why they might not have thrown to that particular receiver, and how like you have to understand like what the reads are and the thing. So always great stuff on Dusty's Substack. And so that is our first superlative. And now Brian's here. Brian Maafi, welcome to the show.
Hi, Brian. We started early for Brian, and so we've been like talking for just all kinds of stuff for the last 15 minutes.
I talked to my wife, and we're on the phone for a while. So
good to see you. Good to see you.
Yes. Oh,
all right, Brian. So anyone in the chat who hasn't met Brian yet, this is Brian and Les. Let's talk about what Brian has to say. Oh, and Brandy says the Packers have received their comp picks today. Yes.
Yeah, 5th and 7th.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you think about the position on all those picks, Brian? Brian, are you any surprises?
No, I mean, there's some people out there that they do like calculate special calculations. They figure out the comp picks like months ahead of time. And that was kind of already out there, so it was kind of expected.
It's just kind of official now.
Right. It's official now. Yeah.
We're getting there. We're getting closer to draft. So, Brian, for for those of you who don't know it, let me get back up here because I was somewhere else in the Brian, among being a husband and a father and a Star Wars fan and a paintball player, and I have a question about paintball.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll be able to get that in. He's a draft guide contributor for Cheesehead TV. So his guest becoming a guest on our show is just so great, such great timing. I cannot speak tonight. I am so my brain is just not engaged. Great timing because we're all starting to get ready for the draft. And then also ATP network around the block, ATB network, around the block network, Rise and Draft database editor. So
Yep.
tell us, okay, first of all, what do you do for Cheesehead TV in terms of your contribution to the draft guide?
Yeah, so the last 2 years I've done, they give a position to each person. The last 2 years, last year and this year, I've been doing the kickers. So I just basically scout the kickers, write counting reports on them.
Okay.
And those go into the draft guide that, you get in April. And then also I'll write up scouting reports for the website. And I've done 3 already, and I got a few more I'm working on to go on the Cheesehead TV website. And then I'm also, this year, I'm actually doing a special feature article for the draft guide that'll be a special in there.
Wow. And so when you, like, what is your deadline? Like, are you guys putting that draft guide together until the very last minute, or do you have it done quite a bit in advance?
It's got to be done ahead of time because they have to send it to the editors, and they have, the people that put it out there and put it in PDF form and all that. And they got to put the pictures together and all that stuff. So we have kind of a mini deadline, a couple days for like kind of our drafts, basically make sure everything looks good. And then the final is due, I think in like 2 weeks. But my everything's pretty much done with mine. So
yeah. Oh, okay. Nice.
I suppose the kickers don't really show up at the combine, do they? I mean,
they do. They have kickers and punters that go to the combine.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
You probably just don't hear about them. It's such a non-glory kind of position, isn't it? And it's such an important position.
Yes.
Too.
Yes, it is.
So then, like, from the sorry, Don, the stuff that you kind of got from the combine, what we saw in terms of measurements and so forth, how much did that change how you're looking at not just punters and kickers, but like any other of the people that are out there that'll be in the draft? Did it change much for you at all, or?
Not too much. There's a few surprises here and there, but it wasn't nothing too crazy.
Okay.
You guys worked a little bit better than we thought, but otherwise it was fine.
Yeah, we had a question in the chat from before you got here, Don. Where was that? It was a Bill question really early.
It's up on the screen.
There we go. You got it. Okay.
Hello, Brian. Do you buy into the Anthony Richardson hype?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, you just kind of got to understand what he is. He's a project. He's a year or two away, because he only started 1 year in college. So.
Wow.
And he was inconsistent at times. He had big games and he had bad games and stuff. So. He still is his upper body, his movements and his lower body movements are not in sync yet. That's something he really needs to work on.
Well, neither are mine, but okay. Okay, but back to the kickers and the punters. Okay, are you at liberty to tell us what maybe your biggest surprise there in that field?
Doing the research, one of my bigger surprises was a guy, Jonathan Cruz from Ole Miss. He kind of came out of nowhere as far as when I was looking into it, trying to find guys that I liked and stuff. He kind of surprised me. He wasn't on my initial list at first, and then I kind of found him later on.
Cool. We're gonna watch for him. Watch his career. You heard it here first. I'm not a big fan. I like it when they finish college and you get to see what they're going to be a little bit better because they've had 4 years of playing. Is that a thing among people who know what they're doing? It's like you, as far as the draft picks
Not as
go?
much. Not as much, because I mean, a lot of the top guys, they only spend like 3 years in college a lot of times. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So Katie had a trio of questions here that she hit us with. We read them straight through. So Katie said, "Who are the Packers drafting to replace Crosby?" And she said, "And how do you get into scouting kickers?" And then she said, "Also the combine." Well, it wasn't a question, but she said, "Also the combine needs to add punt, pass, kick to their drills." So What do you think's happening with Crosby? I mean, because it sounded like Gutekunst sounded like made it sound like he was going to be here still. So I don't know. What do you think?
It sounds like he's going to bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
From what he said at his press conference at the combine.
It seemed like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so they're not drafting anyone for Crosby.
Probably not.
How did you get into scouting kickers?
It's just a position I got assigned.
You just got these.
You guys know Jersey Al on Twitter. He sets all the draft guide stuff up, and that's basically the position they assigned me the last couple of years.
Let's see.
Yeah.
You must have done a good enough job the first time around. They said, "Let's have you do this again, Brian."
I guess so. Yeah. They're not dealing with drafting a kicker the last couple of years, but.
And Katie said the combine needs to add punt, pass, and kick to their drills. Brandy Lewis says, I want the Packers to look at A.T. Perry. What position is that?
Wide receiver.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, they're probably looking at maybe a veteran, right? Looking at getting a veteran in because they've lost a couple of the.
Yeah, probably, but they probably also need more help as far as some youth, more depth for the roster. Yeah.
All right, and Brandy asks, can you have a kicker practice in a walk-in freezer?
Probably.
We got an idea. Shall we do that? Okay, Brandy. So
anything in a walk-in. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, before we get into like the questions that we have for you today, Brian, the actual written out planned questions, I have one question I wanted to ask before we get into that, which is like, at this point, since you're a huge draft guy and a smart fella to boot, what's your hottest take around the draft at this point?
Hottest take? I don't know. I'm not really a big hot take guy. Some people are, but I'm trying to think. I'm not really huge on Darnell Washington. I like him.
Okay.
I like him a lot. I think he compares similar to Mercedes Lewis, but I don't see him as like a top 15 pick or anything like that. I think people are talking about like 15 pick or top 20 pick. I don't really see him like that.
I think he's not a hot take. I think a lot of Packers Twitter started to fall in love with him the second people were saying that he was like Mercedes. So reasonably hot. I like it, Brian. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
What about you? Any hot picks, Matt? Do you have any? Have you given that draft?
No, I'm as far along as you are, I think, on like draft prep. I'm like,
yeah, I'm not.
People are talking about it in podcasts. It's starting to adhere to my brain. Like I'm starting to get a sense of who like the top, I don't know, 12 are or something. Like I am just barely in it at this point, but it's starting to actually adhere, which is fun,
It is. I love this time of year. I really do. I mean, if we can't play football, this is my second favorite thing to be doing. And we're trying not, most of us, some of us, I should say maybe half of us, will avoid the question that Pappy has up here on the screen. Where do you have A-Row Rodgers?
Aaron, he's going to New York. I mean, we all know that.
Yep,
yeah, he's going to New York. We're going to have Jordan Love at the helm this year, it looks like. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, and then Katie wants to know 5 QBs in the top 10. What does that mean? 5 QBs?
Oh, no, I don't think there'll be 5 going in the top 10. Probably 4.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of the consensus.
Which 4? Which 4 do you think?
Probably Stroud, Young, Levis, and maybe Richardson.
Just a maybe on Richardson.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, he could go around like 12, 14, something like that. 20, whatever in that range. But yeah, so he could go in there, but I think it's 3 for sure, maybe 4.
That's reasonable. All right. Well, Don, we have some questions for Brian.
Yeah, we do have some questions. So, so we talked a little about what goes into being a draft guide contributor, and thank you for doing that for us because the draft guide at Cheesehead TV is fantastic.
So good.
What is Around the Block Network? ATB Network. What's that about?
Yeah, it's just like a website for writers and stuff, sports writers. It's like a Bleacher Report or like an ESPN type of thing. We have a bunch of contributors who write about different things. We have people that write about wrestling. We have people that write about football, basketball, baseball, all that type of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And Rise and Draft database editor. Is that your full-time job?
No, I wish. No.
Oh, okay.
It's another side thing. No, it's a on Rise and Draft, the website. It's a draft website, and there's a special database that we maintain. That has draft prospects in it for this draft and future drafts. There's little notes in there. There's heights and weights that we have in there, and the schools they go to. And so it's a resource for anybody to look into for, like I said, for this draft or the next draft or even the draft after that. We have like freshmen in there. We have sophomores in there. Just
Wow.
information. So
Right.
so people can get ahead of it and know the guys for next year.
Right. Oh, very cool. Is that like a membership or is that a?
No, it's just a regular database. You just go on the website, you click on the database. It's right there. It's a Excel, Google Excel spreadsheet thing.
Oh, that's awesome. And so that wouldn't be specific to any team. That's just the entire pool of
College football players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And high school, maybe
Awesome.
a couple high school players, right?
No high school. That's a little too much for me.
Well, but a couple of players will skip college, right? Once in a while, not very often, but
No, it doesn't, because it doesn't really make sense. You got to be 3 years out of high school to enter the draft.
oh, do you? Okay.
I didn't know that.
There's international players sometimes that have come over that haven't played college football, but that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you do a lot for the Packer community, and you have a darling little boy who I used on our thumbnail. I hope that's okay. On our picture.
Actually, you probably couldn't tell, but it's actually my daughter.
Oh, I can't. And I was trying to wave, but I don't know. So a full-time job, you're a dad, you do paintball, you do all these things. How do you find time for all of this? And who do you thank for supporting you so that you can find time for all these things?
Of course, my wife and my job, because basically what we have is basically my wife works during the day and I work at night. That's basically mostly for our kids, just because of their school and picking them up and transporting them. It works easier for us.
Yeah.
And so and then sometimes at night when I'm at work, it's slow and stuff. So I do my writing sometimes at night when I'm at work if it's slow.
Nice. So you've got to figure it out.
Kind of. I don't know if I can always say that, but
Yeah, working at night must be hard, man. I can't imagine.
You get used to it. But
Yeah.
it sucks because you're sleeping during the day and stuff, but
Yeah.
you get used to it.
I tried that 1 year in college, my last year, because I was added a major and I was going to stay on, and I don't know what I was thinking, but it was very difficult. I made it through like, I don't know, a semester or whatever, but wow, I didn't sleep was my problem. I couldn't sleep during the day. So I really didn't get any sleep.
Just never slept. Working on 2 majors. That's crazy.
Yeah, and working. Yeah. Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. I don't know how I did some of the things I did. Well, one of the other things we like to okay, so how did you become a Packers fan? Tell us about your Packers fandom journey.
It's kind of a boring story, I guess. Basically, I started getting into football when I was getting into high school. I wanted to play football, and so I'd watched football before and stuff, of course, but I wasn't like into it. And I'm in Southern California, so it was like, oh, everybody was a Niners fan, and I watched like a Niners game, and it just really was. I was just like, like it just wasn't. I don't know. It just didn't connect with me. I guess the Niners. I don't know. I can't really explain it, but just like I was like, yeah, I'm not really into the Niners. And so I just kind of started looking around for another team, and I knew the Packers were good, but I didn't really know a super lot about them. And so I watched their game, and I saw Favre, and how he played the game and stuff. So that really endeared me to the Packers, and so that's kind of how I got with the Packers.
So it was almost random, huh?
Yeah, basically. It was like 95, I think, so the year before they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you Southern California, did you say? Okay. But you watch, because there's the Rams and the Chargers.
Yeah, but at the time, the Niners were like the
They were,
team.
yeah, for sure. And back then, the Raiders were also in California, so there were 14. Yeah. Well, and the Rams weren't here until
I was gonna say, yeah,
fairly recently. So,
Well, Brian, I'm glad that Favre caught your eye, because I gotta say, man, I really value your contributions to the Packers Twitter, to the conversations that happen there. So because Brett Favre happened to catch your eye, now we get to enjoy having you as part of the community. So that worked out really nicely, man.
Yeah, that's good.
It's awesome. And so that explains why you're also a Lakers fan.
Yeah, well, my dad was a Lakers fan, so it was just automatic. I was going to be a Lakers fan. So.
Right. Well, I'm in Southern California too, but I'm from Wisconsin, so it's required if you're from Wisconsin to be a Packers fan. There's actually just no choice on that.
It's your birthright.
Yeah, it is.
And so Pappy is in South New Jersey, also known as Philly. So we have Jalen Hurts. And is enjoying to see our dilemmas, our discussion. That's great. All right. So, okay. So that explains the Lakers. And I like the Lakers. Of course, I like the Bucks. I grew up watching the Bucks too. But how do you not like the Lakers when you're out here? It's a big deal.
Of course.
Big deal. Do you get to go to any of the games? Are you
I've been to I think my two games in my life.
Really? Okay.
Because it's so expensive, and it's all the way in LA. It's a long drive, and I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, LA is far for you. Okay.
It's like an hour and a half, depending on traffic.
Yeah, and then traffic. Right. Okay, so tell us a little bit, and we're gonna have one more question for you, okay, before we let you go. So I know you have to go. The final question we love to ask is about our beloved NFL and Packer online community, also known as Packers Twitter or NFL Twitter, if you will. One thing you love the most, and one thing you would change if you had the power to change it.
I love the most is just it's. I was trying to think about. I was thinking about this earlier. It's like having a bunch of people that you have an inside joke with in a way, because you've all have the same shared experiences and remember the same, like you'll a player who was in the Packers training camp 5 years ago, who was just in camp, got cut. You'll be like, you'll get those random jokes about, name a random Packer, and people name it, and everybody's like, oh yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a shared kind of experience type of thing.
Yeah.
And the shared trauma of 2014 NFC CG. You're like, no, don't ruin my day.
Yeah, don't remind me. The only thing I would change maybe is just some of I don't know how to put it. You see some with some content creators, I guess you see some how do you put it, politicking in a way. I don't know how to put it exactly, but just like it. Because I know some people who know people type of thing, and some people they don't get along behind the scenes, but on Twitter they're like friends. It's I don't know. I kind of find it weird.
Oh,
okay.
Kind of.
I'm not saying they have to be cursing each other out or anything like that. Weird, but it's just if you don't get along, it's fine. But just why are you pretending you're friends on Twitter? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I find weird. I think it goes with regular people too, I guess. But that's the only thing I find kind of weird. I'd rather change that. I'd rather people be more upfront and honest.
Genuine. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's valid. That's a valid point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Brandy says, I'm in Kansas. My husband was always a Packers fan, so it's so go Pack go.
Go back.
Yeah.
Whatever does it.
Yeah, that's sometimes how it works. And then Pappy has a question on the side. They got a sidebar going on over there. So Pappy wants to know to what extent she's a fan and what extent she just Brandy.
Oh yeah, Brandy's coming back here. Brandy says, I can tell you the defensive scheme and why Joe Barry irritates me. Also, I make Green Bay casserole.
What is Green Bay casserole? What is Green Bay casserole?
I'm curious about that too.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
My mom made it.
Green bean casserole.
Oh, green bean casserole?
Could be green bean.
Is that what Green Bay casserole? I love it. Well, Brian, thank you so much for joining us. We know you're really pressed on time. We're going to look forward to hearing what you have to say on that draft guide this year for the kickers and the punters. And did your daughter want to say hi?
Hi. Brian, we value your time, man. Really appreciate you stopping by. It's good. It's good to finally just talk to you.
Yeah. I'd like to come on again and have more time and hang out longer.
That'd be
Please
great.
do. Please
Yeah, we'd
do.
love to have you
You're
back.
welcome anytime.
Yeah, and my and also my special article, it's going to be my special article is going to be about the players that the Packers are not going to draft.
I wasn't sure if we could.
Oh.
It sounded like it was kind of a secret what it was going to be, so I don't want to
Yeah,
ask. But I was very curious.
That's my little announcement. It's going to be about players the Packers are not going to draft.
I look forward to reading it, man.
What's that?
Wow.
Oh yeah, okay, good.
Wow.
Other daughter.
Oh, nice got you over there.
Oh, your kids are adorable, man. My
They're
God.
they're loud.
It's
Very
fun to
loud.
hear- It's fun to hear them giggling, though.
I was surprised that even with this long with them being so quiet. Okay, stop. Hey. Stop. Sorry, the
No worries,
route.
no, you're good, man. Don't worry, man. So yeah, no, if you gotta go, that's cool. And appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for letting me come on.
Anytime, dude.
See you
Yeah.
soon.
All right, see you guys later. Go Pack Go.
Where'd I go?
Bye. All right.
Oh, the laughter of children is it's like the best sound. It makes me
It is
so
the
happy.
best sound. I don't know if I've ever mentioned, but we have a school here,
Mhm.
and their playground is behind me, and so every time I go out my back door during the week, I'm just surrounded by giggles
Mhm.
and cartwheels and handstands and whatever. It's just fun, so fun. Okay, so Brandy says Green Bay casserole is green bean casserole with baked onions in a G.
I love that. That's awesome.
Is the G just the top with the
Oh, yeah.
onions?
That's like where you put the like the French onions,
Right.
or what are those called?
Yeah.
Those fried onion things. I'm imagining. I think I'm guessing correctly here. So instead of just like across the whole entire top, just like in a G
Right.
on the top. So I'd eat
Love
that.
that. I think we need to get Green Bay Packers Pro Shop to make G-shaped casserole pans
They probably do.
and
I'd
cake
be
pans.
surprised.
Yeah, like alphabet. I'm sure somebody makes alphabet cake
Mhm.
pans and stuff, so you can make good.
So Brandy also said, I am ordering the Cheesehead TV draft guide. I would say too, that's a good one. The work that the people put into that, such great individual articles. This one Brian's going to write, I'm sure is going to be great about who they're not going to draft. That sounds like a fun way to approach it. So I'm looking forward to that and looking forward for that draft guide to come out.
Yeah, every year. And Bill is enjoying the laughter. Did we get answers to your questions, Bill? I hope we got them. I can't remember now.
It was a little chaotic, but
It was a little bit. Okay, Maddie. So let's have your second superlative because I
yeah.
have to find my first one. I went to find it and then I got sidetracked.
So yeah, my second superlative is best guest, and this was everything about this really caught me by surprise, like in a really delightful way. What I'm talking about here is Aaron Nagler. So of course, most people who will hear this probably already know that Aaron Nagler is with Corey Benke, like the dudes who run Cheesehead TV, which of course we're already talking about, and he is he's an interesting guy.
Yes.
Aaron Nagler is he's outspoken.
Yes.
And he's smart, and he doesn't put up with anybody's anything,
Right.
Because we was a clean show, so I'll keep the word out there, but you can imagine what I'm saying.
Yes.
And I think, I definitely enjoy his stuff. I think he's kind of a divisive figure in some ways. I don't think that's out of bounds to say that, but I do like his work a lot. And in fact, I just need to even give him an extra prop here because I probably wouldn't have been drawn into Packers Twitter if not for him. Because years ago when I was like, let's go onto Twitter, just kind of see if I find some Packers content there, like just kind of see what's happening on Twitter. It was like his tweets, actually his and Dusty's. That's weird. I'm talking about both of them tonight, actually. Were the ones I was like, oh, there's like people here talking about the Packers, and it's like worth spending a little time to getting to kind of see what they're putting out there and what the people they're talking about are doing. And 5 years later, here we are doing a podcast about this stuff. So suffice to say, best guest of the week was Aaron Nagler. He was on two different podcasts that I listen to regularly. He was on Watching Stuff with Aaron Alice and Dan Kotnick talking about episode 2 of the Star Wars movies. And that's kind of like a lot of Star Wars fans will, recognize that it is not a good movie. It's not good. So I was looking forward to this episode anyhow, just to hear, Aaron Alice and Dan's takes on the movie and kind of get their listen to them cutting it down, basically, right? So then also getting Aaron Nagler in the mix, who is a huge Star Wars fan, and kind of like his different perspective as well, made for like a really, really, really good episode. Highly recommend it. So that was a lot of fun. And then later in the week, he also showed up on Pax What She Said, of course, with Maggie Loney and Perry Goldstein. And that was awesome because they were asking him questions about the combine, because he went to the NFL scouting combine. And hearing like the insider's perspective about like the kind of things he saw and, what it was like to be in Indianapolis for that. Because I feel like some podcasts like the Athletic Podcast, with Robert Mays, he's talking about like the things they're learning around here, but he's not talking about the experience as much of being there. So hearing about like just what it's like to be there,
right,
was fascinating. You know? So and of course, Aaron and Maggie and Perry all have so much respect for each other. So like just hearing them kind of the way they talk to each other, the way they talk about this stuff, it was very enjoyable. So there were two podcasts that surprise, Aaron Nagler showed up on this week as a guest.
That's
and
cool.
just slayed. It was great. So
that's really cool. That one's on my playlist. Pax What She Said, but not the other one. I think I only saw the first Star Wars movie like 50 years ago. So I don't know how long ago it was, but like it was a long time ago. I might have seen a couple after that, but I can't say I'm not a fan, but I'm not following it like some people do.
So you're not a hater, but not a fan.
No.
Yeah.
In fact, one of these days I'm going to binge them all and get caught up, and then I'm going to be the most annoying fan. That's how I do things.
So Bill mentioned there that Aaron Nagler is actually the first follower of the @Reddit Packers.
I love that.
Account. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really great.
I love that. I would have to say that Aaron Nagler and Tom Grassi were the ones. I can't remember which one was first. Probably Aaron, that got me started on YouTube, Packers, and then over to Twitter. I would just watch them on YouTube. And Pappy, this is very sweet of you, Pappy. Aside from liking and subscribing, what is the best way to support your channel and everything you bring to us? Your comments here, your chatting, just being here.
Get more people to show up and listen.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Thank you for asking. That's really sweet.
That's a sweet question. So, Dawn, you have a superlative.
I have a special treat for us. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen. If you're on the podcast, you'll be able to hear this. But if you're watching, like some of us are watching right now, you'll be able to see this. And this is my only superlative for the week. And it's fitting because if you're a Packer fan, you know what this week has been like on QB1 watch. Okay. So my superlative is the most Wisconsin viewpoint. And this is Charlie Barron's. He appeared on Inside Wisconsin on YouTube. So you want to hear it?
Yes.
It's so good.
Going out there, Rodgers.
Well, here's the deal with Rodgers. Honest to Pete, if I were to be, frank with you, I'd tell you this about Aaron Rodgers, and that's the fact that, I've been saying this a long gosh darn time. I've been saying it before anyone else has been saying it. And honest to Pete, I just don't know. And so.
There it is. There it is. We just don't know. I gotta love Charlie Barron's.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I saw this fly by on my suggested videos, and then I went to his channel and couldn't find it, so I had to do some searching too. But yeah, and that's about it. That's about where I'm at right now. We just don't know. But you gotta love the accent and the whole. He wasn't wearing a Cheesehead hat there, but got the point across. So most Wisconsin, super cute, super cultural.
Love that. That's a good one, Dawn.
So next week will be different because we'll have maybe some news and we can move on from this thing that we've been in the last few seasons. off seasons, not knowing. And it'll all be good. It's all
It will
good,
be.
no matter what. So
At least this week, there's been a lot of other interesting NFL news happening, even if it's not like Packer centric.
mhm.
So, like, with various quarterbacks signing and like nobody picking up Lamar and how like weird that is, and just there's a
Oh.
lot of other interesting stuff happening, at least, even if this Rodgers thing is just tiresome.
That Lamar thing is really sad.
Mhm.
It's really sad.
It's really ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's hard not to read it as like the owners saying we're not going to go in on this kind of a contract, a fully guaranteed massive contract. We're just not going to do that. We're going to push back the quarterback market for our own pocketbooks. Man, that's some collusion. That's some I don't know. I don't like it one bit. I can understand like they got teams to run and they have limited budgets, but like Lamar is an amazing quarterback, and stop doing this.
He is, and I don't know if you remember, I talked about this a while back, and I'm a little fuzzy anymore on the details, but he was trying to negotiate his own contract,
Mhm.
not using an agent, using
Yeah.
a family member, and that was part of the problem, is why he never had a contract. So he never really got paid properly, I don't think, and now he's injured, right? So
I mean, he's injured a lot, but
yeah, he's been injured several times. So yeah, it's there's a lot of lessons in there
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
I saw a little about it, but I put a GIF up on my Twitter, just like I'll be under the bed until we get this. Like I'm hiding out. I don't really care about it.
saw that.
Because you can't go on and not see things you don't want to see.
True.
Unfortunately.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, any final thoughts before we go, Maddie? And just before we do go, I just want to say thanks again for everybody being here in the chat. Some of our guests have gone nighty night. So bye to you all.
I do have one thought, Dawn, actually.
Yes.
So this is the time of year when you go to the grocery store or the hardware store or the record store, you might see some Girl Scouts selling cookies, right?
Oh.
And you might notice the prices and think, well, that's kind of steep for cookies. But I want to just remind you, they're not just selling cookies for the sake of selling cookies. They're doing it as a fundraiser so they can like do cool activities and grow as people. You can develop their skills, their leadership skills, their entrepreneurial skills, all kinds of skills to help set them up to be, even more awesome as adults. So if you're hesitant to fork over, $5 for a box of Samoas, whatever they're called in your part of the country, give them that money, because those cookies are tasty and it's helping them to do cool stuff. So buy those Girl Scout cookies. I have a daughter who's in Girl Scouts. She did pretty good
we
selling
need that
cookies
link
this year. And
okay. We need that link, Maddie.
I wish I could put the link out there to sell through her thing, but the Girl Scouts of Western Ohio unexpectedly, I think it might be actually nationwide. I think it might be nationwide. Unexpectedly earlier this week said, nope, Monday, 6 p.m. this past Monday. It was supposed to be like the 19th. They had to like shorten the window all of a sudden because stock was getting really low really fast. So that was a bummer. But you'll still see them like doing the cookie booths in places.
Oh, okay. So your girls are done selling?
Online, yeah.
Online, right.
They'll do it in person. My daughter will do it in person, yeah.
I would have ordered some cookies.
I should have let you know. I should have put it out there. My mistake.
Yeah.
My mistake.
Well, next year for sure. My kids downstairs in the school downstairs, they grow organic vegetables, and they had a farmer's market.
Oh,
and
nice.
they were raising money for a camping trip or something like that. And so I went and got some greens for smoothies and that kind of thing. And then they ran out, and I was like, well, here, just take the money. But they're growing their own, the organic garden that they have going in the back is great. I love that. Instilling that entrepreneurship in children. It's fun.
That's real world experiential learning for you right there, Dawn. It's good stuff.
It's awesome. And Too Deep, nice to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Judy.
Bill wishes he could have some Girl Scout. Well, if you have some extra ones, maybe. Well, if you find a booth like at the grocery store out here, they set up at the grocery store like little tables, like not little, actually pretty big enterprises. Yeah.
So it's the time of year the tables are sprouting up. So
yeah. Awesome. And Brandy did say
here's an intriguing thing. Yeah, go ahead.
David Bakhtiari's contract restructure has not been done because he could be traded with Rodgers. I refuse to believe that. Yeah, I do too.
I do too.
We need him with Jordan Love.
Yeah. People are going to think I'm conspiracy theories, pass the time. Whatever. I don't believe it either, Brandy. I'm with you. All right, Don. Anything else you want to say before I hit the ending here?
No. Let's wrap her up. And thanks again to the chat.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Friends, make sure you're following Brian Maafi on Twitter. By the way, Maafi is Maafi, so his Twitter handle BMaafi. And of course, you'll find links in our show description for everyone we mentioned, so please check it out. Whether you're a super fan or content creator, we'd love to have a chance to interview you. So if you're a subscriber, our DMs are open at all the Hey Willip on all the social platforms. We'd love to hear from you or someone you'd like to nominate to be a guest on our podcast this year. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. The best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it. Please share it with your friends and family.
Please do. That's right, Maddie. And it's because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and to have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod. And we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.